of the outcomes is that the parents are starting to play music with their kids, and the kids are seeing the parents having fun. They want to have a band. This intergenerational like flow that's happening around the practice of music, and it's amazing.
You're listening to Around the School Table, hosted by me, Steve Davis, and proudly powered by Xuno Suite. We'll be bringing together the many voices shaping primary and secondary education across Australia, from principals and teachers to education thought leaders and system innovators. Whether you're in the classroom, the staff room, or the boardroom, this is your podcast to be informed, inspired, and connected. Today on Around the School Table, we're joined by Anna Vermooten, founder of Parents Battle of the Bands, a vibrant community initiative. It started in St Kilda and has since grown to bring parents and schools together through the power of live music. Drawing on her own experience as a jazz and funk singer-songwriter, Anna's helped uncover hidden musical talent among parents and created a truly unique way for school communities to connect and celebrate creativity. And in this conversation, Anna's going to be sharing that inspiring story behind those early days at the iconic Prince Bandroom, the role of community and celebrity support, and how schools can kickstart their own battles. And if you're curious about building engagement, beyond the classroom and energizing families through music, I reckon this conversation is going to strike the right chord, as they say. Anna, welcome to Around the School Table.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
I am excited about this because in my private time, I like writing song lyrics, etc. And I've done some work with Rick Price over the last year. So
wow.
I'm all ears. Now, the idea for Parents Battle of the Bands, 2017, St Kilda. You wanted to engage parents from primary schools around the city of Port Phillip, which, now I'm from Adelaide, but I'm being told that's St Kilda, Middle Park, Albert Park, etc.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. I believe within about 24 hours of you saying you need a venue, you had one, which is very much like The Secret, say it, and it manifests. And it wasn't just anything. It was St Kilda's Prince Bandroom, which has supported music since the 50s. Can you relive those early moments for us? Bring us along the story.
Yeah. First of all, I wasn't looking for a project to bring parents together. It was something that happened afterwards. So the initial fact was that there was a few parents' bands around, and I was in one of them. And so we were doing banter in rehearsal. We were seeing each other once a week. We were playing at the fete, at the trivia. And then one of the people said, there's a band in Elwood and they've been doing this for 20 years. We should do a battle as a joke. And, we all were laughing and, we'll take them on, blah, 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 whatever. And then 2 weeks later, someone told me their school also had one. And then I thought, actually, 3 is enough to do something. And then a 4th appeared, and then a 5th came together for it once we had the venue. So it was just a matter of just talking, which I do heartily to anyone who wants to listen about new things. And then someone said, I know the people at the Prince. And then it turned out the booker was a parent at one of the schools who had a band. So it was very, very simple. Very quickly, we decided the ticket money was going to go back to the music programs of the schools, which then engaged even more people. But that first night, I had no idea. The first battle was in May 2018. So maybe, about 8 months after we started talking about it. And it was the community building of that event and what it did for all those young parents. It's kids in primary schools and you're tired and, all of that. That was mind-blowing because within 2 minutes, being in the green room and then seeing the crowd, we realized that was just an insane, second effect. And it's not a second effect anymore. It's like it's the driver of this concept.
Well, Yes, I mean, first of all, if a scriptwriter came to me and said, look, we've got this great story for a movie idea and here's how it happens, I would throw it back and say, that's fanciful. There is no way it would work like that. I don't want to go too heavy on it, but to me there's a magical element that those elements were just there and this catalyst sort of struck them together.
I think it's a real, I want to say Australian, but maybe even a Melbourne thing for me. Like the importance of music, the amount of venues there in the city. Like it's a real Melbourne cultural thing, and I feel we've just facilitated something that was there to be picked up. You know what I mean? Because people are very community minded with the sports and the footy and, all those things. So it's just a matter of like redirecting that energy and then using all those parents who are musicians. Of course, they're musicians because there's musicians everywhere in the city.
As a parent of a couple of daughters, and I've been through the primary school experience, it was lovely having chat with parents, and then life sort of gets really busy. There was something in me made me wish, upon reflection, that there was some other reason or drive that could have given us more excuse to be together and deepen those relationships outside of watching netball or whatever it is. And there's something about music that I think shares something with going to a costume party. When you're there as a costume, as a persona, people seem more able to connect because if they're embarrassed, it's not them, it's their character. When you've got music and musical expression, there is something else that has its own reason for being, and the pressure isn't just on you. There's a communal language or something else that's coming together. Do you agree with that, or do you see it differently?
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah. And look, I was one of those people like at daycare and creche and stuff. I was always looking for gigs, and then I would like send an email to 25 parents that I'd met and say, let's go see this artist, let's go see that artist. So it's like I like giving that experience back because I think we forget. And so I used to always go and to gigs, and then I was thinking these people like everybody would benefit so much. You go see a show and you feel so good for weeks, like it's got that real music is very, very unique that way. I agree with you.
And even beyond the music, just that shared experience. The media landscape is so fractured. We don't have that same thing we used to have of everyone watching the same program to bond us.
Yeah.
We have to make that sort of stuff ourselves. I actually get a strong sense that you're just the right person for the job because you're a parent of a primary school child at the time. You're also a former singer-songwriter performing jazz and funk as Anna Moots, and I've had a listen to some of your tracks on Triple J Unearthed, by the way. Love it. There's a mercurial element to the way you bring the voice in with the music. Fantastic. What part of your musical life do you think led into the battle of the bands happening? What are the aspects of being a musician and a singer and a songwriter performer that made this possible, that drove you?
I think all of it. And I've been reflecting on this more as the years go by. So it's not just me as a singer-songwriter, it's more, I feel this is me as a 10-year-old. Like I remember being 10 and I remember the exact moment when music grabbed me in a way that was beyond, like listening to the radio. And it was because my sister gave me a tape for my birthday, and it was a tape that what she recorded of a Prince album. And this was my first encounter with Prince, and it was the album Parade. And it's the album with Kiss on it. And it's an amazing album. And then I went and listened to everything that Prince had done, but it grabbed me so much that like I feel like it was a pivotal moment where my everything changed for me. And I started playing, and I was playing piano, but not well. And I was like, actually, I want to play guitar. Actually, I can sing. Actually, I could do this. And then I was in a band at school, but it was all um, with no pressure. I didn't feel I had to be really good because Prince has this thing of conveying that anyone can do anything and that you only have to be yourself. And that is what I'd like most, if not all kids, to feel. And that's why all the proceeds of the tickets go back to that so that people can experience that moment and the engagement with music. And it doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be, I have to master the violin. It doesn't need to be those things. It needs to be that emotional connection you can get, because that then becomes a gift for life. Like I released an album, that's great. But being in the parents' band, and I didn't like doing covers. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do covers. The pleasure of being with musicians in the room, week in, week out, rehearsing, prepping, arguing about which song and all of that. It was so amazing. And it brought them back to that, to the primary school kid. You know what I mean? And to be like that childlike person, and then you give all this pleasure to the people in the crowd, and there's this playful element to the battles, with the judging and all this banter, and it's so good. It's so good.
I get it. There's a sense in which, well, okay, there's two layers to this. One, if you look back into the early 1900s, so last century, we still had that ability, you might call it childlike, of someone having a piano or an organ or a guitar, and just everyone's gathered, could be a family gathering or whatever, they'll start banging out some tunes, and people had, it seems, very little reserve in chipping in and communally doing it. And then as musicians got more and more professional and there was an industry, it was like something they do, and so we play their stuff. I get a sense that Prince was a turning point as an artist who somehow signaled to you that you have your own agency to do this, and that, together with that 10-year-old spirit, seems to be what's happened here.
I think he's done that. Look, and I've got very, very close friends who, through this, being a fan for all these years, and we've been thinking about it because we're trying to see like what happened. So it's so intense, and I'm a fan in the sense that I listen to all the bootlegs, and I've got a collection, and all this stuff, and go to all the shows and travel to go see the shows and the after shows, blah 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 blah. At the end of it, then you discover someone who's an advocate, who is an independent artist, who's mentored a lot of other younger musicians, a lot of female musicians who had bands that, were reflective of like a mixture of society. And he was really, walking his talk in so many ways. So it's a real inspiration. And then, what happened when he died in 2016. So this is just very shortly after I joined the band. We discovered he donated millions of dollars to all these music programs, but it was always done anonymously. So we didn't know. And then it turned out that he was doing that because it's through those programs that he was doing, that he became who he was. You know what I mean? Like without those programs, he wouldn't have become who he was. And so when we discovered all of this, like millions of dollars, and all these people finally being able to express their gratitude for him and what he'd done, for me, there was like this it blew my mind that we were about, we this is what we're doing here. We like with these parents' bands and stuff. So I didn't think of it as we're doing parents' band of the bands, but as we're doing it, actually, it came back. So the whole cycle is kind of like turned. It's just like you said before. It's this magic.
What is it about music, though, that enables this? Because we've got other things that could bring people together, like amazing writing or the joy of solving complex maths problems, etc. What is it about music?
Maybe a similar thing that than with sports, except music engages then the senses, and so many of them. And dancing is also something that really does things to your mind, so, like to your brain. So the research now is amazing about what music does, and rhythm and the connections it makes, and it's completely unique. Nothing else does it. And as an art form, as a way of expression, nothing comes close to music.
Actually, I think I also got a sense of another thread. I've just finished doing a variety bash, which is a big car rally, and different states have them to raise funds for the community. And what struck me upon reflection was there was a sense we were all together on the same journey. There was a connection between us all, and it wasn't top of mind. It just happened. I think that sneaks in when we're engaged in singing, playing, or listening to music.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also agree with you, back to a point you made before, like start of century, last century, and the place music used to have in our day-to-day life and how that's dwindled, singing together and, all these rituals. Some countries still have them, and a bit in a stronger sense, but especially with the rise of technology today, it's really important to bring it back. And one of the outcomes is that the parents are starting to play music with their kids, and the kids are seeing the parents having fun, and so then they want to have a band. And there's this intergenerational flow that's happening around the practice of music, and it's amazing.
Yeah, flow, very much the key.
Good morning.
Selamat pagi.
Kalimera.
Buongiorno.
Magandang umaga.
Want to make sure every parent feels connected and informed, no matter what language they speak? Communication just got easier. With Xuno's multi-language feature, you can now connect with parents in over 130 languages, automatically translated, instantly understood, whether it's reminders, updates, or celebrations. Families receive your message in their preferred language, with no extra steps from you, no confusion, just clear communication. Every time. Try it today to build stronger school-to-home partnerships, inclusive, effortless, and effective.
You touched on communicating with parents in the beginning of our chat, and I just want to come back to that because lots of schools have different ways of helping parents communicate. I mean, there are obviously parent apps like Xuno, etc., and schools can broadcast news and events to parents. What sort of methods did you use to recruit bands? I know the first ones kind of happened spontaneously, but what have you been using to pull together bands and audiences?
It was through trial and error a little bit as well, because we thought we needed to be in touch with the schools, but it's not that. It's the word of mouth that was happening between musicians. They all know each other, and then they're talking to another musician from another school at around the basketball court, watching their kids play or whatever it is. That's how it spread. And so it's actually away from technology. It was like finding the enthusiastic parent in each school that would then gather the band. And then once the schools are locked in, because we don't need the approval of the school to do the battle, because we're donating money to the school. They can approve, not approve, it doesn't matter. The parents decide to do it. And then there's, it's completely separated. We did that on purpose so that there's a sense of freedom around that, and that people who want to do this, they can just do it. Now we've got almost 40 schools. People come to us. We have a wait list of future battles to be happening. People come to us, and then we contact the schools, and then they use the newsletter, the WhatsApp groups of like the year levels. Depending, each school is different. The platform you just mentioned, Xuno, or the other platforms, they getting used as well, and so we use all of that but we don't do that. So then then it becomes the responsibility of that person in the school, who's usually the band rep, to communicate. And then, schools sell vast amounts of tickets because, they can volunteer for their own school by buying a ticket to a show as opposed to doing the sausage chisel. Like it's really different.
And I love how it's the tent is pitched outside of the school, so you have that freedom, but it's still supporting the school. But schools do get on board. Middle Park Primary School, they got their
Newton,
they call it. The kids, I believe, name the band, but the principal has been hiring a bus to create that real concert tour feel. Can you fill in the details? This is a great story.
Tim, I don't remember who contacted us. We played at their fete. So our school is not far away. And so we played there. And at the end of the fete, at the end of our show, I did a call out and I said, how come Middle Park is not in the battle? That is ridiculous. And then so all the parents are like in a festive mood. And so I don't know how many people came to us at the end and like, I play keyboard and I'm a singer. And then Tim, of course, he was on board straight away. And he's a musician himself. He already had a band. He already mentors the kids into their own band in that school. And they have a great music program. So they got the band together. The kids named the band the Middle Sparks, which is a great way to engage your school community if you start forming a band. And then he hired a bus and took the whole band to the Prince Bandroom for sound check. It was hilarious because they're 5 minutes away. It was really funny. And we've got footage of Tim at the front of the stage dancing all night to every band. Yeah. He just loves it. Yeah.
I've just got a huge smile on my face. There's something about this. I feel the world needs it. We've got AI encroaching everywhere. And this is where we're still sweaty, heart-driven humans. Mm. And there's a hunger for it because it's not just around your neck of the woods in Melbourne. You're growing. Bondi in Sydney, I believe, things are happening there. Can you tell me a little bit about how that became sparked and then what your vision is nationally?
So last Thursday was the Bondi Battle, our first one.
Yep.
About maybe a year and a half ago, someone spotted Battle of the Beaches in Bondi. Right. And we contacted the people who organized that. And it was parents' bands, but not necessarily from the schools. And they were not necessarily raising money for the schools, but they were also raising money for the surf club. So it was a bit more a mixture of things. And the judges were the bar staff. But it was a real fun community event. And they've been doing it for a couple of years, I think. And so we were talking to them. The way that we do it is quite organized, and we can't just go, it's for community in general. To grow, we have to have really clear guidelines, which we have. And but they were very happy to hand it over, and then nothing happened with that. So our drummer from my band at the time, he had a really good friend in Bondi who was a trumpet player, and there was an article about her in the paper, and he put us in touch with her, and now she was just awesome. She is the enthusiastic person that you need. She became our coordinator for the battle. She organized our info night. For us, it was a great way to trial our systems, because our systems are in place now to be able to do this remotely. And so Thursday, it's only a few days ago, for the first time we flew out to have a look and just, meet everyone. And we still had to be bit hands-on on the day, but it was amazing to see the result of something where we hadn't seen the venue, we hadn't met the people, we didn't actually know, and it all worked perfectly. There was 500 people. We had an amazing judging panel. Like everything was awesome. So it took, maybe the first contact with Belinda was, her name, we call her Min. Min was probably a year and a half ago, I'd say.
So it all started, but you just needed someone else to blow your trumpet for you.
Yeah, but she recruited like 5 bands. Like some of the bands didn't exist at all. Like they were all. So we had Bronte, we had Bondi Beach, we had Bondi, we had Surrey Hills, and then the last one, I don't remember the last one.
It's like your own Min dynasty is being grown down there or up there.
Yeah, she was fantastic. And then the band that won is called Bon Dynamite, because if you want to have a laugh, just go on our website and have a look at all those names.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What was the importance, do you think, of having some celebrities in your early days get behind the original battle? I'm thinking, is it Chris Chaney from The Living End?
He played at our first battle.
He played? And you got Dylan Lewis and David Hughes emceeing.
Yeah.
Were they important, or would it have happened anyway?
I think it would have happened anyway. The first year we had music teachers being the judges. They were just not allowed to judge their own school.
Yep.
And then we just thought it was really fun and a great way to take space in that world of entertainment, and really fun for the bands. To meet sometimes their heroes. And then, so yeah, it was a fun way. Like originally we thought it's great to spread the word. I'm not sure that's what happened, but it's given us real credibility to know that, Kate Sabrana and Jane Gazzo were judging the North-South battle, a couple of weeks ago, or, other things. St Kilda is full of musicians that have lived here for a very long time. We try to get people that are in the area. A lot of them have kids. It's been really, really good, and we get a mixture of artists, but also industry people who are loving it. So we'll see. It might have been a really good investment of our time. We find it really fun. The bands find it really fun. If it's just for that and give us credibility, that's an amazing feat.
You want to feel I think it's the Sydney Myer Music Bowl in the heart of Melbourne. That's one of your goals.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Now, what can we do to help? What do people need to do? How can we make this happen?
We would. This is for Victoria. I was talking to the Minister of Creative Industries, and I said, the community here in Melbourne is amazing, in Victoria actually. And so the MCG on grand final day, it is just insane. 100,000 people. That for someone coming from Europe, and there's soccer and stuff, but the footy thing is just it's amazing, and it's also fun. Like it's got that friendly, rivalry and stuff. And I said, imagine like having that final, or like not really a final, doesn't have to be competition anymore, but you'd have that community day at Sydney Myer Music Bowl with like, let's say all day long, 10 parents bands, that we would have picked, and then kids bands, and then maybe a couple of the judges that really liked us to also play, and just make it a big day of families gathering with all the kids, because all our events are plus 18, so it'd be a great way to like get all generations together. So I've spoken to the Sydney Myer Music Bowl a while ago, because I want to see how much it was
Yes.
to do it, but it will come. We're growing into regional Victoria. We want people to go on our website. There's an expression of interest for next year. Just bring it. Like, just sign up. We will be in contact with you straight away. We have a big list of venues that are keen, because that's how we collaborate with Ostix. And look, it's there. And then, Adelaide, like there's a school there that's really interested, but right now we need to we're kind of stuck at this level where we need funding to be able to go and grow, and because there's so many possibilities. We need to employ people to do the work of growing it. But it could easily be in every state, and there could be like a fun interstate thing happening, and there's so much potential, and like all the remote areas, everywhere. This is possible everywhere.
And I feel like there's a missing element that you're filling. For we have so much trouble at the moment in Australia making those days in the park and those travelling festivals economically sustainable. If you had an event like you're talking about, many of the bands, they're going to be volunteering their time. They're doing this for a greater mission. It's actually fundraising. It takes that problem away, and yet you've got also a ready audience of people who want to support. So
that's right. And the promoting of these events, it's not that difficult, because we've got access to the databases of all the schools.
Yes.
And then, it goes back to them. The money they spend goes back to their kids. Like, it's the concept, the idea, it's like it sits at the intersection of, community building and then impact and just a self-sustainable event.
You've touched on this, just in closing, Anna, you've touched on this. Our listeners within school communities, schools like to be very organised, and you've touched on the fact that you're very organised in Parents Battle of the Bands. Can you just give us a light overview of the pathway a parent or a school takes when they express interest? Because it'd be nice to hear how what that system's like, so that we understand that this is grounded, not off with arty, airy fairiness. It's also grounded in logistical realities.
That's right. So first of all, I'm going to give credit to a woman called Dagmar Yeaman, who works with me. She's our COO. She is the ultimate organized person and has put all these things in place. We work together very closely, and so without that, so that's first. I just need to
yes, noted. Yes,
we are basically two completely different peas in a pod, but it really works. So you go on our website. Our website is parentsbattleofthebands.com. Simple. On the first page, you will see you can click a tab and it says expression of interest for 2026. In there, you sign up. It doesn't, you don't have to commit to anything. You don't even have to have a band yet, because then we can help you with all of that. And then on the second page of the expression of interest, there's a thing called the starter kit. And in there, there's like recruitment, digital tools within your school to recruit your band, or even ask if there's any musicians in your school, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we do the work of getting the venue and doing all of that. All the admin work behind it is taken care of. And another parent, Robbie Capuccio, has developed an app for us. So all the bands on board on this app, and that is just the most insane thing. Like, it's so, so good. And we send that to the sound tech and the stage manager, and they've got everything. It's very, very simple from the moment you sign up to the moment that your school receives the proceeds of the ticket. There's no work except for practicing and choosing your songs.
Beautiful. Last question. Anna, if I was in a parent band and I was going to be in the battle, what are the elements of a song that we should choose to perform that you think gives us the greatest chance of thriving?
This is a question you should definitely not ask me. I am the worst music snob. I am not happy with what's happening. But okay, I will answer as if I'm not me.
Okay.
So it needs to be a song that people connect with. So probably popular 90s. And yeah, look, sing-alongs are really good. You only have 15 minutes, Every band only performs 15 minutes. So pick 4 or 5 songs, high tempo. Yeah, a sing-along is great. Try be a little bit original. Like we are putting some of the songs on a band list because they kept being played all the time. Anyway.
So if I wanted to succeed, I'd take really high energy, thrashy songs and do a ballad version to surprise people, or vice versa. But if I was being me, I'd just do a whole lot of reinterpreted Leonard Cohen songs and lose.
We've had really good concept things like this, and we have a really good surprise every time. There's a battle. We've had people do mashups of 12 songs in 15 minutes. Yeah, look, we've had like rappers come on and do it camo, and we did, like, there was a wedding band.
Oh, wow.
They're playing at the Corner on the 18th of September. Actually, I will plug this. The finals, Northside versus Southside in Melbourne, is at the Corner Hotel on the 18th of September.
Anna Vermooten, thank you very much for telling us about Parents Battle of the Bands here on Around the School Table.
Thank you so much for having me. And hopefully we will see you at the Corner.